Hello, and welcome back to J. Carnifer Astrology. I would like to thank you in advance for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Please be sure to share this video with anyone you feel may benefit from the content, as this greatly impacts and helps grow the channel. If you're not sure what to comment, I would love to hear where in the world you're tuning in from, what in this video, as we go along and cover the information for the full moon in Leo, resonates for you specifically, and I'd also love to hear what's within your natal chart that you'd like to share. Thank you in helping us on our journey to 500 subscribers, where we can officially monetize the channel and seek a little bit of reward for all this consistent hard work over time. And now, without further ado, let's dive into it. Today we're here to discuss the January full moon, the full wolf moon of 2024. Expect the unexpected. The full wolf moon occurs on Thursday, January 25th, 2024, peaking in intensity at approximately 12:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The name for any full moon occurring in January is the wolf moon. While January signifies new beginnings with a new year, this is also one of the harshest months in the northern hemisphere and the peak of winter, characterized by long, cold nights and limited food supplies. January's full moon came to be known as the full wolf moon from Native American, colonial American, and various European sources, because wolves, who howl to coordinate their hunting efforts, locate members of their pack, and vocally mark their territory, howl more frequently during the cold winter months as they spread out hunting for scarce food supplies. The native wolf symbolizes courage, strong family ties, an appetite for freedom and independence, intelligence, intuition, loyalty, and trust in others, as we balance aloneness with togetherness. The wolf is considered the most successful natural hunter and a powerful spirit totem in many cultures, especially Native American ones. It is said that when the wolf spirit animal materializes in your life, it's time to make your position known and to break away from the pack, to follow your own independent journey if necessary. I'd like to share an excerpt from one of my favorite oracle decks, the Wild Unknown Pocket Animal Spirit Guidebook by Kim Kranz. The Wolf. Guardian of family, tribe, activism, ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching, religious, political studies. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. So contemplate the following. Embrace all, exclude none. When in balance, it's reliable, democratic, and fearless. When it's out of balance, it can be judgmental and dominating. To bring back into balance, practice letting go. The wolf is my niece Maya's favorite animal, and what I like most about the wolf is how much it reminds me of Aquarian energy. Although the wolf thrives in a pack, it can also survive on its own. Similarly, Aquarius, despite being one of the friendliest signs in the zodiac, is more reserved and introverted, needing a significant amount of alone time to recharge, usually curled up with a great book we can get completely lost in. This is a symbolic reminder for us to realign with our intuition and acknowledge what we're most hungry for in this lifetime as we reflect on the previous year. Like the wolf bravely venturing off onto its own, following its animal instincts to track food for survival, annually, the January full wolf moon calls us inward to realign with and trust our intuition. As someone with Native American heritage, I'm obviously very interested in Native American culture. My family hails from the Comanche tribe, at least a very small portion, and I'd like to share a proverb that comes from the Cherokee tribe. There is a battle of two wolves inside us all. One is evil. It is anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, lies, inferiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, and truth. The wolf that wins, the one you feed. This reminds me of one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite artists who is a fierce independent. Which One I Feed by Cody Jinks. I am the river that flows through my veins. I am the black crow. I'm the wings of change. I am the rock that the rain couldn't conquer. I am above, I'm below, I am hell, and I am high water. I've been the song carried in on the breeze. I've wept with willows, and I've fell with the leaves. I am the badlands, and the silence it holds. A warrior who walks but is never alone. There is a black and a white wolf in me. I live and I die, by which one I feed. It's a war old as time, this fighting inside. And I live and I die, by which one I feed. I am the hunted, and I am the hunter. I am the feast and the famine, the hunger. I am the eagle, screaming for peace, while the beasts on the inside sharpen their teeth. There's a black and a white wolf in me, and I live and I die, by which one I feed. Repeats. This first full moon of 2024 in the fixed fire sign of Leo features a newly reborn Pluto, 0 degrees Aquarius, shining a light and exposing what's been done in the dark as we're rising up to challenge the current existing order. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, from 1778 to 1798, it brought us the American Revolution. Colonial opposition to British leaders attempted to exert more power and control over the American colonies through increased taxation, as they attempted to force the American colonies to repay the crown for defending them during the French and Indian War from 1754 to 1763. No taxation without representation, and life, liberty, private property, and the pursuit of happiness were two major ideas that helped spark the flame that challenged British oppression, leading to the American Revolutionary War and the issuing of the American Declaration of Independence, formally signed by Congress on July 4th, 1776. When Pluto was last in Aquarius, this also brought us the French Revolution. King Louis XVI's extravagant spending and France's involvement in the American Revolutionary War forced France into the brink of bankruptcy, leading to a people's revolt against the corruption of royal officials and various inequities within society. This time period also brought us the Irish Uprising, aka the Irish Rebellion of 1798, and the discovery of Uranus in 1781, thanks to advancements in the modern telescope that expanded its range. Uranus, as you know, is the now modern planetary ruler of Aquarius energy. This time period also brought us the discovery of uranium in 1789, named after Uranus, which had been discovered just 8 years prior. Uranium is the radioactive heavy metal associated with Aquarius energy, and it has been used as an abundant source of concentrated energy for decades. 2024 is a massive year for change, embracing freedom and preserving our human rights and liberties, due to the ingress of Pluto in Aquarius, coinciding with the North Node of Fate and Destiny in Aries. Pluto wants us to face what is toxic and unhealthy head on, so that we know what needs to end and we no longer give any power to it. Pluto reveals corruption, and in Aquarius, we can look for corruption in Aquarius themes: technology, data, AI, modern science, especially pharmaceuticals and healthcare, networks, transportation, especially aviation and trains. Pluto's ingress into Capricorn in 2008 brought the last financial crisis that we still haven't recovered from. Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 21 years, and I'll review. Pluto is our slowest moving planet, taking 2 years to change signs due to its incredibly slow elliptical orbit. 2023 and 2024 are therefore transition years, bringing death and destruction, Pluto, to old ways of thinking and top-down structures as we prepare for a new Earth. The individuals who have their Neptune conjunct Uranus in Capricorn, born between 1990 and 1996, are, as we speak, laying the foundation for a better tomorrow. This rare, powerful conjunction brings a beautiful blend of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces energy due to the influence of those planets in the sign of Capricorn, Neptune, Uranus in conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. This beautiful blend of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces energy is necessary for modeling the path of rebelling with a cause and daring to be different. Our natural freedom of expression makes us perfect for showing society new, innovative, and different ways of living and existing together within society more equitably. Here are the dates that are important for you to know about Pluto in Aquarius. March 23rd, 2023 to June 11th, 2023, Pluto first dipped its toes into 0 degrees Aquarius, offering a taste of what's to come. From June 12th, 2023 to July 28th, 2023, Pluto retrograded through that 29th critical anaretic degree of Capricorn, dipping its toes back in for some reflection into the destructive systems of our current top-down structures. On October 10th, 2023, Pluto stationed direct 27 degrees of Capricorn for some forward progress through those late degrees of Capricorn. On December 20th, 2023, and until January 20th, 2024, Pluto stationed at that 29-degree Capricorn, that critical anaretic point. On January 20th, 2024, we had Pluto Cazimi. First, Pluto Cazimi, Pluto and the Sun aligning. So Pluto has a message for the Sun. Passing the Sun means it's combust or explodes in some way and then is able to move forward. So they aligned first at the 29th degree of Capricorn and then traveled into 0 degrees Aquarius together 12 hours later. At approximately 8:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 20th, 2024, the Sun and Pluto aligned at 0 degrees Aquarius, with the much slower moving Pluto joining the Sun a mere 12 hours later on 1:20 or 1:21, January 20th or January 21st, depending on where in the world you're tuning in from. Pluto is the planet of deep personal transformation, power, secrets, revolution, and change. So Pluto in Capricorn from 2008 to 2024 brought the destruction of old traditions and paradigms, top-down power systems. Pluto in Aquarius from 2023 to 2044 is power distributed more equitably back into the hands of the people. Aquarius is a highly intuitive energy, so trust your gut, make your stance, and go your own way. On this same day, Mercury ended its post-shadow retrograde, indicating we're likely to experience a major turning point, revelation, or breakthrough, as we're called to embody our highest self. Mercury leaving its post-retrograde shadow, coinciding with Pluto Cazimi, is a powerful quantum leap in timelines. In 2024, Pluto will travel back and forth through the late degrees of Capricorn and the early degrees of Aquarius for the last time in our lifetime as we transition into the age of Aquarius, November 2024 to 2044, when Pluto makes uninterrupted forward progress through the sign of Aquarius. Very slowly. Pluto will only proceed about 3 degrees per year. This is why I'm calling the time period from January 20th, 2024 until September 1st, 2024, the dawn of the age of Aquarius. Pluto will travel from 0 degrees Aquarius to 2 degrees Aquarius, and then it will retrograde back to 0 degrees Aquarius. Pluto makes one final stop at the critical anaretic 29th degree of Capricorn during its 2024 retrograde, leaving 0 degrees Aquarius for 29 degrees Capricorn on September 1st, 2024, and ending its retrograde stationing direct 29 degrees Capricorn on October 12th, 2024. Mark your calendars for some turbulent times from September through November of 2024, especially financially. And then finally, on November 19th, 2024, Pluto re-enters 0 degrees of Aquarius for that uninterrupted forward progress through the sign of Aquarius until March 8th, 2043. Saturn is the traditional planetary ruler for Pluto in Aquarius, and it's the sole planetary ruler while Pluto is in Capricorn. So we'll need to pay close attention to Saturn, and Saturn specifically is traveling with Neptune in the same sign from 2023 to 2026. I'll get into that a bit later on in the video. Saturn is associated with master number 22, the master builder, on the path to self-mastery and Capricorn energy, which is all about healthy, balanced boundaries. Where do we need to employ boundaries to avoid wasting our precious energy and to protect ourselves from manipulation and abuses of power? Uranus is the modern planetary ruler of Aquarius, so we'll also need to pay close attention to Uranus, which is very uncomfortable in Taurus. Uranus as one of the planetary rulers for Aquarius, people are coming out of the woodwork very unexpectedly, and they have your back. Be very prominent in the full moon charts for the first half of 2024, so we'll pay special attention to Pluto. This is also intensifying the emotionality of an already intense situation where we have the moon working against our soul, who we already are, working against who we long to be. Before diving into the full moon, I'd like to review our recent astrological history, and I'll link the corresponding videos within. The Capricorn new moon that occurred on January 11th, the 111 portal, ushered us into 2024. And 2024 is a karmic year. It's the year of the wood dragon, and it's going to be a very tough year for Earth energies. Anyone with prominent Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn energy. 2024 in numerology is an 8 year because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. Power number 8, I was born on the power number 8th day of October, is infinity sideways, representing both Leo and Scorpio energy, the divine balance of shadow and light. On any path to self-mastery and self-actualization, one must learn to balance their shadow side, that dark side of the wolf, ego, greed, fear, insecurity, and anger, with light, unconditional love, humility, honesty, hubris. While we can let the shadow sit beside us in the passenger seat, we must never allow it to take the wheel, at least not for long. I once loved a young man whom I believed I could fix and lead back into the path of light, which was a huge lesson in my own personal evolution. Although we can inspire others by seeing the sea of potential within them and holding them to their highest potential, displaying unconditional love, ultimately we can only hold space for them to heal themselves. This young man had various issues, but most prominently infidelity, drug addiction, and dark web activity that once I became aware of, I had no choice but to exit the situation, which he made very easy by choosing his darkness and addictions over taking personal accountability for his actions. It all depends on which wolf you feed. I'll link the video here for the full details, but what was really interesting about this new moon is it happened at the exact same degree point, 20 degrees Capricorn, as the January 10th, 2020 prenumbral lunar eclipse, which was, if you remember back to January 2020, that was just about the last normal month, here in America at least, before life changed as we knew it by March 2020. Thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. This new moon happening at the exact same degree point, 20 degrees Capricorn, is significant because it means in 2024 we're receiving good karma and closure for wrongdoing that was done to us during 2020, which, as fate would have it, is the year that I was in this situationship with this shadow young man. People, experiences, and themes from 2020 are resurfacing and coming out of the woodwork for healing and closure. Just hours after the Capricorn new moon in 2024, Juno, the asteroid of long-term commitments, stationed retrograde on January 12th, 2024 at 21 degrees Virgo. 21 degrees in degree astrology being a degree point of healing. 21 degrees Virgo is exactly where we had our Virgo new moon back in September, on September 14th, 2023, which coincided with the end of Mercury retrograde through Virgo, through one of its home signs. This Mercury retrograde began August 23rd at exactly 21 degrees Virgo and ended September 15th at exactly power number 8 degrees Virgo. Mercury stationing direct at power number 8 degrees Virgo under the Virgo new moon on September 14th made Mercury even more prominent, especially in its home sign of Virgo. This new moon featured an alignment of the Sun and the Moon at 21 degrees 58 minutes Virgo on Thursday, September 14th, 2023, in close proximity to fixed star Denebola at 21 degrees 38 minutes Virgo, which is connected to criticism, mental illness, and natural disasters and catastrophes. This is precisely where Mercury retrograde through Virgo began on August 23rd, 2023. I'm going to share a couple of incredibly relevant clips from that Mercury and Virgo retrograde video I produced back in August 2023. Mercury entered the sign of Virgo on July 28th, and it remains in Virgo until October 4th. This is a long time for the fast-moving planet Mercury. This is essentially like the universe pointing its finger and saying, take a look. I want you to focus here. These 4 placements in Virgo, the Sun, Mercury, Pallas Athena, and Mars, are opposite Saturn and Neptune in rulership in Pisces. Pisces and Neptune are the great dissolvers. It's about what's lost. And it has a lot to do with immigration. I'm not calling it migration because the way we've been using migration in the media is inaccurate. Migration implies seasonal travel and a return to the place from where you came. In this case, people are not returning. Hotels, hospitals, the hospitality industry have had an influx, a flooding of immigrants in the United Kingdom and the United States. And we don't have the means to provide for it. So this is putting a tremendous economic strain on our healthcare and hospitality industries, both of which will come to a head under this Mercury retrograde from August 23rd to September 15th. We have Mercury retrograde opposite both Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde at various points in this retrograde cycle as Mercury travels from 21 degrees Virgo to 8 degrees Virgo and then back toward the 21st degree. One of the major components is a long-term transit we've mentioned in previous videos, but that's Neptune retrograde in the late degrees of Pisces, sextile Pluto retrograde in the late degrees of Capricorn. This placement is about true evil hiding in the shadows. This indicates that words are being manipulated for greater power behind the scenes. Is the motive here to negatively impact people's physical and mental health to get them dependent on pharmaceuticals where they can manage symptoms but not cure the problem? Or addicted to a culture of comparison where the narrative is easily controlled and manipulated through censorship and social media? Is it to increase division by spreading fear and hate by focusing on how we're different when the future wants us to collaborate and focus on how we're universally similar? I don't know. You tell me in the comments below. I'm simply the messenger, the conduit, the one who translates the astrology for you. From August 23rd, the first day of Virgo season, which is not a coincidence, that's another indicator that the universe is pointing at us and saying, hey, I want you to pay attention here. From August 23rd until September 15th through Virgo, wants us to reflect and refine our approach to our nutrition and our health, our overall sense of wellness. Juno retrograde surfaces relationship issues that may not be fully resolved until she stations direct on April 21st, 2024 at 6 degrees Virgo. This is bringing tests and hardships to our existing long-term relationships and commitments. Much like a Venus retrograde, those of us in strong, healthy, balanced long-term relationships and commitments will have opportunities to strengthen these relationships even more, while those of us in imbalanced connections will have an opportunity to either strengthen and fix that relationship or walk away and end it so that a better opportunity can fall into place. This transit from January 12th to April 21st, 2024 will have us questioning if our existing interpersonal relationships and partnerships, whether romantic or business related, have a balanced give and take, reciprocity. For my single friends, there's an opportunity to reflect on your singledom and what limiting beliefs may be blocking the right connection from coming in. Juno retrograde through the mutable earth sign of Virgo. As someone in a long-term relationship with a Virgo and 2 previous Virgo moon karmic soulmate men, I can tell you firsthand that a Virgo is far more likely to demonstrate its love via acts of service, like cooking for you, than to express itself openly with an I love you. We'll all be feeling the wrath of Juno retrograding through Virgo over the next few months as the asteroid of long-term commitments and marriages travels backward through self-critical, perfectionistic Virgo. This will affect earth signs, but especially Virgo placements, probably those Virgo moons. This retrograde specifically will give us an opportunity to pick apart our existing connections and to rule out potential lovers and partners due to superficial flaws. My best advice here is to stay realistic, but don't expect perfection. There are deal breakers and there are things that are not necessarily deal breakers that you can work through. No one is perfect. This Juno retrograde highlights Virgo themes of service, devotion, problem solving, organization, communication, boundaries, and even global healthcare through demonstrative acts of service. Additionally, we'll be forced to face Virgo shadow traits head on. We'll be looking at themes of rigidity, perfectionism, anxiety, negative self-talk, needing control, and overgiving to one's partner. Just days after the Capricorn new moon in 2024 and immediately following Juno retrograde through Virgo, Mercury re-entered the sign of Capricorn on January 13th, 2024, where it joined an exalted Mars co-present with Pluto at that critical 29th critical anaretic degree point. While Mercury traveled through 0 to 8 degrees of Capricorn from January 13th to January 20th, 2024, this was Mercury's final week in post-retrograde shadow, a symbolic reflection of the power of our thoughts, words, and spoken communication and written communication. We're reminded that words are spells that carry significant weight and have the power to burn bridges and destroy relationships. As we reflect on our own individual patterns of thinking and communicating, we're called to be more intentional and take greater accountability for the thoughts that we choose to entertain. You'll recall from previous videos that we began and ended 2023 with Mercury retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, with this latter one changing signs between Capricorn and Sagittarius at that power number, 8 degrees Capricorn, which is symbolic of a major change of heart or direction regarding one's long-term plans and commitments, especially as it relates to our careers. The second ingress into Capricorn is symbolic of a return to the reflection from December 1st to December 23rd with renewed clarity. Mercury is now traveling through the early degrees of Capricorn, at least at the time of recording this video, for the third time directly, with the week leading up to January 20th in post-retrograde shadow, which is all about integrating the insights that we gained while Mercury was retrograde. There's an opportunity to pivot, align with intuition, and to clear up any misunderstandings that might have occurred while Mercury was retrograde, particularly for those with cardinal placements in the signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. We may be experiencing some sort of major leveling up as we shift our perspectives. Then we had that Pluto Cazimi, January 20th, 21st, kicking us into not only Aquarius season for 2024, but the dawn of the age of Aquarius. Let's dive into the full moon. To review, a full moon occurs when the moon and sun are directly opposite one another in the sky. This is when the moon is 100% illuminated as it reflects the light of the sun. This full moon is happening during Aquarius season, meaning that the sun is traveling through the constellation of Aquarius, while the moon is opposite, traveling through Leo. Since the moon rules over our private, emotional, and comfort-seeking nature, with our natal moon placement representing our most private selves, astrologically, full moons increase emotionality and feeling. What was previously easy to repress, avoid, or escape will come bubbling to the surface, to the light of consciousness for healing. Since this light is a reflection and not a direct source, this usually indicates a resurfacing of the past as something is brought to light. Full moons bring completion, closure, and release for what was planted under the corresponding Leo new moon 6 months prior. The new moon in Leo for 2023 occurred on August 16th, 2023 at 23 degrees Leo. Look back through your phone, look through your screenshots, your notes, your journal if you keep one. I do recommend that you keep one. See what you were working on or manifesting around that time, as you may find clarity and fruition coming under this powerful first full moon of 2024. You can feel the effects of the full moon 3 days prior and 3 days after. It's currently 5:55 p.m. Monday, January 22nd. As I'm filming this video, you will start to feel the effects of this moon within the time I'm recording this video and up to 3 days after January 25th. Let's talk about that sun in Aquarius. And Pluto is co-present there. Pluto intensifies, making this energy even stronger. Pluto at that 0 degree point. 0 degrees is the purest form of energy of that sign. My boyfriend Brian, born the very first day of Virgo, 0 degrees Virgo, has the purest form of Virgo energy. If it was any deeper into the sign, I've said this before, I'm a past life Virgo. If he had any more Virgo, it would be too much Virgo for the two of us. It would not work. We'd be too similar. But because he is 0 degrees Virgo, he is learning that Virgo energy from me. And after I dated those karmic Virgo moon soulmate men, mirroring back to me my own unhealthy, toxic Virgo traits, I was able to heal those patterns of perfectionism, etc. And now I'm in the perfect position to teach somebody Virgo energy. So similarly, Pluto 0 degrees Aquarius is the purest form of Aquarian energy, intensifying the sun at 5 degrees Aquarius. The sun in Aquarius is the water bearer, dispensing the gift of emotion, empathy, compassion, and allowing it to flow freely, openly, and equitably to all as a fixed air sign that's often confused for a water sign. Aquarius is the messenger, the watcher of the mind and emotions, known for its objective, big picture thinking and stoic detachment. The pictograph for Aquarius is 2 zigzagging lines representing electrical signals, conductivity, and universal collective thought, along with higher consciousness, astrology, and the future. Aquarius is a whistleblower, born to deliver truth, which they bestow freely. The day of the week associated with Aquarian energy is Wednesday, shared with Mercury, which Mercury represents the lower mind, while Uranus and Aquarius represent the higher mind, higher consciousness. And the color associated with Aquarius is electric blue. When the Sun and Pluto align in Aquarius, watch for attacks by small or narrow-minded people who feel threatened by your authenticity. We'll get into this a bit more when we talk about Leo Moon, but Leo Moon can also be prone to attacks of slander due to their tendency to attract the spotlight. Aquarius marches to the beat of its own drum, inventing new, innovative tunes along the way. Although Aquarius tends to be more liberal and progressive in its thinking, it can also be very fixed or set in its thinking. It is a fixed air sign, after all, making it very difficult to change their stance or opinion once they've made up their mind. Problems arise for Aquarius when we become overly attached, fixed, or set on our ideas, beliefs, and expectations. Aquarius may fear losing our authentic identity or fear becoming what others want us to be, forcing us to, like the wolf, break free from its pack for a time, which is exactly what happened to me in Aquarius North Node and someone whose Libra placements are under the second decan of Libra, which is ruled by Uranus, having a more Aquarian flavor to my Libra energy. Exactly what I had to do to figure out not only who I was after years of narcissistic abuse and to come back into that authentic and empowered. I also, fun fact, drive a bright blue car. Aquarius is likely to have friends from all walks of life, from all over the world, and speaking many different languages. The Aquarian themselves may speak multiple languages or be interested in learning different languages. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, is wired to avoid boredom and complacency by embracing sudden change, and sudden change is often a theme in the life of an Aquarius. As a North Node Aquarius, back when I was in that corporate 9-to-5 rat race before I broke free from it, it would take me about 3 months to learn the language of an industry or a new role. Then it would take me maybe 3 months to learn the ins and outs of that role, and usually 6, 7, 8 months in, I would hit that boredom point, that point of stagnation, and nothing was more unbearable to me than being bored in a job. It felt like a prison sentence. And that's because my soul was meant for much more. And that's because my soul was meant for a different path. Aquarius has a personality that's characterized by a system of paradoxes. Although we're friendly and well-liked, Aquarians love their time alone, and we tend to be more reserved and detached. Aquarius loves to travel, but we're also a huge homebody. We may be involved in 2 distinct but very different areas of work, such as running an astrology tarot business while also managing something more locally within our communities. The first decan of Aquarius, specifically from 0 to 9 degrees Aquarius, which is very familiar for those born between January 20th and January 29th, is both ruled and sub-ruled by Uranus, the planet of sudden change, disruption, originality, and freedom. Uranus in mythology is the ancient sky god, the first god of the universe, and Uranus was discovered in 1781, that last time Pluto was in Aquarius, which is no coincidence. Uranus and Aquarius energy rule technology, aerodynamics, aviation, trains, networks of all kinds, networks of information, networks of people, social media, the neurological system, data, and modern science in general. The constellation associated with this first decan of Aquarius is Delphinus, the dolphin, the ancient savior of the shipwrecked. Pay attention to shipwreck because that may come up again later in the video. The key word for this decan is knowledge, and Aquarius is quite fond of acquiring it. Knowledge is power, after all. Aquarius incarnated to be on the outside looking in, and it may or may not be referred to as an alien within the context of its family or friend groups. I definitely am. Proudly. Being so starkly different from their surroundings. I, despite having a mother who's from Texas, am the only person in my family who likes, and I don't mean like I love country music. That's just one of many, many examples. We also don't see eye to eye on most things. I follow holistic medicine. I'm very conscious of what I put into my body from a very ingredient level, while I have a brother who is the CEO of a medical device company and is a big pharma pusher, and my mother was a clinical research associate for a major pharmaceutical company for years before going into business for herself within property management. 2 examples for you. This unique outside looking in perspective enables Aquarius to see what's wrong with the status quo so that we can affect change and improve it, which is why we are underdogs who are born to blow the whistle. Friendly, witty, humanitarian, affectionate, kind-hearted, intuitive, energetically sensitive, but detached emotionally. We're quick thinking, and we're incredibly versatile. The sun is debilitated in the sign of Aquarius, and I'll talk a little bit about what that means. The sun rules and is therefore in domicile in Leo, so when the sun is opposite its sign of rulership, it's debilitated or weakened in the sign of Aquarius. But don't get attached to the word debilitated or detriment. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Remember, we have to look at the whole chart, not pieces of it. Look at everything together. Sun in Aquarius is wired to focus on the group, other, or larger collective in reference to itself, which is the perfect complement to any self-centeredness or egocentrism of strong, let's say, Leo or Aries placements, such as a moon in Leo. Collectively, what this means for us, with Pluto intensifying a debilitated sun in Aquarius opposite the moon in Leo, this can indicate the individual getting lost in the sea of the crowd of the collective, environmentalism, global health matters, and challenging existing powers that be. I'd like to illustrate an example of why having one sun in Aquarius in detriment, debilitation may not necessarily be a bad thing. So if you look at my chart here, I have my South Node, and the South Node represents who you already were when you incarnated, similar to your moon sign, but specifically who you were in a past life. And mine, as you can see in this chart, is in close conjunction with Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. So Jupiter in Leo, expanding my South Node in Leo, gives me both flavors of moon in Leo and Jupiter in Leo, obviously. Big past life Leo energy. On the cusp of Leo Virgo to be exact, with my sun rising on the ascendant, exalted in its position there in the first house. Those placements, along with my Pallas Athena, creative intelligence, 22 degrees Leo, brings enormous potential for self-centeredness and drama. In my younger years, yeah, there definitely was a flair for drama and maybe a little bit of self-centeredness here and there. And you better believe, as any Leo prominent individual, my gifts are taken away when the focus is ever on the self or ego instead of on the collective. This is why fame comes to those who don't seek it. And the key to overcoming stage fright is to focus on the audience instead of the self. If you focus on the message that you are here, the duty that you are here to deliver to the collective, all that stage fright dissipates. This is the bulk of what I work with my clients. People trying to balance the Leo Aquarius energy. And I was only able to do so once I balanced it within myself. When you tell somebody who has musical talent that they are selfish for not sharing their gifts and talents, that artist realizes it's their duty to share it with the greater collective. And you better believe stage fright dissipates. My North Node in Aquarius and Libra Sun, which Sun in Libra is weakened just like the Sun in Aquarius would be. This is because the Sun is exalted in the sign of Aries, so if it's opposite that, it's going to be weakened. Just like in the case of Leo and Aquarius, my Libra Sun is weakened. This puts the focus in my life on others in relationship to me and on my soul mission as a messenger for the greater collective, balanced with the more self-focused energies of my Leo placements. That South Node in close conjunction with Jupiter, between 3 and 9 degrees Leo, creative intelligence at 22 degrees Leo, and the Sun rising on my ascendant, which is big Leo rising, born for the spotlight, leadership, and creative expression energy. And for Leo energy, as you'll remember from previous videos, anything at 5 degrees carries the energy of Leo. My Uranus, 5 degrees Capricorn, in my 3rd house of verbal and written expression. Let's talk about that moon in Leo. So we have the Sun and Moon at 5 degrees associated with Leo energy, and our Moon in Leo. The Moon represents the public and who we already are on an emotional, private level. Full Moon indicates that secrets are coming to light, and it indicates powerful revelations with the co-presence of Pluto. Moon in Leo is dramatic, bold, all eyes on me energy, and usually indicates being born into wealth, privilege, or status. Leo Moon has a big, generous heart that likely got wounded early on. Full Moon in Leo amplifies the need to own our individual talents authentically. Leo is a fixed or set fire sign, adding warmth, charm, charisma, idealism, stability, and natural leadership to the emotionality of the moon. Specifically within the first decan of Leo, 0 to 9 degrees of Leo, which is both ruled and sub-ruled by the Sun, the center of our solar system and most powerful planetary influence. This first decan of Leo is associated with the Ursa Minor constellation, the small bear or Little Dipper, symbolizing our individual soul path and personal goals. This energy will feel very familiar to those born during the very beginning of Leo season, between July 22nd and August 1st on most years. Those born under this energy were born to be in the spotlight, to lead with their colorful, often larger-than-life personality. They are easily able to excite, stimulate, and inspire others, as can be seen in the performing arts. I love going to concerts, and I love going to concerts because I feed off the energy. Not only do I love music, but I have a great time, and what I love most about it is every time there's a performer and an audience exchange, you can see it. It's contagious. It's the best display of energy. The better the performer does, the more the crowd loves it, and the crowd feeds that performer with that positive praise and energy, and it's symbiotic and it just grows. Similarly, if the performer doesn't do well, the audience gives that feedback. This is why a lot of people in the spotlight have that Leo energy and are wired for that feedback. The Sun's influence bestows energy, vitality, and authority, sometimes even a demanding presence. The glyph for Leo represents 2 valves of the human heart, symbolizing power derived from open-heartedness, balancing intellect with emotion. This symbol resembles the Greek letter omega. Leo is symbolized by the regal lion and all felines. Leo is noble, royal, brave, courageous, prideful, and dominating. The day of the week associated with Leo is Sunday, which literally translates from the sun's day. Sunday is a day of rest and reflection across various cultures, and Leo is often mistaken as lazy. This is not the case, however. A Leo knows just how precious their energy is, and they know exactly when to turn it on and when to turn it off. The lioness may spend a lot of time sleeping, but she does not mess around when it comes time to hunt. When the moon is in Leo, the soul seeks rest from drama, which is very similar to South Node in Leo, which I have in conjunction to my Jupiter. I want to talk a little bit more about that. My brother Todd is a Leo moon. He has his located somewhere around 10 degrees Leo, within 1 degree of where my Jupiter is. My brother and I both have certainly taken a break from our family dynamics, with our Leo and Scorpio energy predominantly passed down on our maternal line from our mother, who earlier in life tended toward some dramatic tendencies. Our mother has her Venus and Pluto in Leo, Pluto intensifying the Leo. And remember me talking about Leo placements over the summer? Venus in Leo is a placement that's very common in actors and actresses. It makes one born for the stage and able to express themselves very dramatically and boldly. She loves very intensely, like a Leo Scorpio. Leos are multi-talented. Todd, gifted in his intelligence, swimming, and the arts, specifically drawing. Although he's not as traditionally creative these days, he's designing a computer game in his downtime while he rears 2 beautiful children and is director for an IT department for an academic institution. They value their privacy, so that'll be all the horn tooting I'll do for my brother Todd. Moon in Leo is playful, creative, colorful, and at times self-centered, but it's not necessarily in a bad way. Like, I wouldn't call my brother narcissistic by any means, but he definitely is self-centered in the sense that he's in his own world, and that's okay. When the moon's in Leo, we need to watch for over-idealizing the object of our affection by placing them on a pedestal. Because when people don't live up to our unrealistic and unattainable high standards, it leads to heartache. One of my favorite Shakespeare quotes says, "Expectation is the root of all heartache." To balance Leo moon with Aquarius, Leo is about the self, while Aquarius is about the everyman and the higher collective aspirations of mankind, including the others in relationship to us. Be yourself authentically and unapologetically without falling into the trap of succumbing to other people's projections and expectations of you. Be free. Embrace who you authentically are, ditch any patterns of people-pleasing, codependency, and sacrificing integrity for popularity or public opinion. Leo energy incarnated to shine its light and to be a light unto others through creative self-expression, heart-centered leadership, or parenting. The sun represents our ego in its purest form, our soul's core mission, and our self-concept of self. When Leo is imbalanced or negatively self-centered, this can be in detriment to its relationships with others. It may have a my way or the highway attitude and struggle with the arts of compromise, negotiation, or to be a team player. 5 degrees in degree astrology is associated with charm, beauty, self-expression, charisma, entertainment, creative projects, creativity in general, people in the limelight, spotlight, or Hollywood, pleasure, and connecting with one's inner child. Actually, I'm starting to rush as we speak because I have an adult beginner ballet class as I am reconnecting with that inner child myself under this full moon in Leo. This full moon in Leo is highlighting the contrast between traditions and old ways of thinking and being versus new age attitudes. I'm hearing Meet Me Halfway by the Black Eyed Peas. Can you meet me halfway? Right at the borderline is where I'm gonna wait for you. I'll be looking out night and day. Took my heart to the limit, and this is where I stay. I can't go any further than this. I want you so bad, it's my only wish. Girl, I travel round the world and even sail the 7 seas. Across the universe to other galaxies. Just tell me where to go, tell me where you want to meet. I navigate myself to take me where you be. 'Cause girl, I want you right now. I travel uptown, I travel downtown. I want to have you around, round, like every single day. I love you, always, ways. Can you meet me halfway? This is emphasizing the existing gap between generations, how things have always been versus embracing and embodying the change needed for a better, more equitable future. This is happening on a Thursday, aka Jupiter's Day, which literally was named for Thor, meaning Jupiter. We have a fixed T-square, the position of the Sun and Pluto aligned in the early degrees of Aquarius, opposite the Moon in Leo, indicates that the emotionality and feelings of the Moon are working against the soul's desire for authentic self-expression, individuality, and personal freedom. This is all about owning our authentic individuality. The involvement of this fixed T-square, which is pointing at Jupiter, 6 degrees Taurus, as Jupiter approaches the fixed star Hamal, 7 degrees, 4 minutes, Leo, a fixed star that represents violence and cruelty. Jupiter in Taurus is all about self-worth, self-confidence, presence, practicality, pragmaticism, staying grounded, and being consistent and confident. Jupiter, which expands, recently went direct on December 30th, 2023, which means it's no longer retrograde. It's ready for forward progress, and it's going to be big. This will make Jupiter and Taurus issues larger than life and bringing increases to the cost of supplies and food, global supply chain issues, especially after the shutdown of the Suez Canal. Jupiter expands and square to the Sun coincides with solar maximum. We've seen an increase in solar flare activity really since this new moon in Leo in 2023, mid-August 2023. We saw an increase of solar flare activity threatening the stability of power grids as we ended 2023 and started 2024. We had a coronal mass ejection, which sent a plasma wave to hit Mercury directly on January 15th, 2024. Mercury has a magnetic field, so this plasma wave is essentially the Sun energizing Mercury, the messenger. On January 16th and January 18th, this coronal mass ejection hit Venus and Mars, neither of which have a magnetic field, but are still affected due to Mercury's conjunction with Mars, and Mercury and Venus's close proximity to the Sun, increasing the effects. By January 29th, 2024, these Parker spirals, which is what they're called, Parker spiral theory states that solar wind flows outward, traveling at nearly the speed of light, pulling the magnetic field along with it as it's twisted into a spiral by the Sun's rotation. So these Parker spirals, characterized by high plasma density, traveled all the way to Jupiter by January 29th, which, again, expands and has the strongest magnetic field after the Sun. This will bring major Earth and weather events, causing some lands to sink beneath sea level, while others emerge over the next 20 years. Jupiter's long-term and growing sextile with Saturn indicates that the planet of expansion and wisdom, Jupiter, is working very closely with Saturn, planet of karma via restriction and limitation. The increasing sextile helps us to see our karmic lessons more clearly, peaking and exacting on February 6th and 7th at 7 degrees. So Jupiter will be on top of that fixed star, Hamal. Jupiter in Taurus co-present with Uranus, they're both answering to Venus in Capricorn, which answers to Saturn in Pisces if we follow the energy trail. Venus in Capricorn is all about overcoming lack mentality as we build relationships and legacies that last. She's much more stoic, detached, decisive, and assertive in Capricorn, leaning into maturity, responsibility, self-love, self-respect, and employing healthy boundaries after a period of reflection. Venus in Capricorn is the stoic, watchful observer embodying the power of detachment. As it turns out, the secret to not giving enough is to simply not give enough. Venus in Capricorn is getting clear on her spending, and she's repaying her debts. She's having more grace with not only herself, but with others. Venus trine Jupiter. This brings good news for our financial futures, abundance, and opportunity. In the sign of Capricorn, these opportunities are coming in through people we know, our connections, especially to those with status, power, and influence. We talked about that T-square, but I want to talk about it a little deeper. The opposition between the moon in Leo and the sun and Pluto in early Aquarius indicates karma is coming into people in the limelight, to individuals with prominence, Hollywood, and the top 2%, as secrets come to light dramatically over the next few weeks. Anytime a planet opposes Pluto, it can bring danger and crisis. We'll first have the moon opposing Pluto, and then the sun, in the sign of Aquarius, indicates that we're reacting to a crisis within a larger group dynamic that we're a part of. Pluto and the sun are located on fixed star Bos, 5 degrees, 10 minutes, Aquarius. Bos is Latin for cow or ox, and it's located on the face of the sea goat Copernicus constellation. This is foreshadowing major changes in climate and global politics. So underdogs and whistleblowers assemble. This can also indicate literal and metaphorical storms at sea. Remember we said something about shipwreck, such as war. I'm wondering what may happen in the Taiwan Sea over the next couple years. Interesting that came up in my research. Vladimir Zelensky has his sun on this fixed star Bos. So perhaps he's coming into some karma for misuses of power under this full moon in Leo. This placement also represents keen intellect and a penetrating mind, which we'll need to employ. Moon in Leo happens on the nebulous cluster located in that first decan of Leo. The Asili specifically brings death by fire, fever, catastrophe, and brings great changes to society. The key to balancing any T-square is to look at what's missing directly opposite the focal point of the T-square. That would turn this T-square into a grand fixed cross. This is around the area of 0 to 6 degrees Scorpio, where we have the fixed star Kambalia, 6 degrees 57 minutes Scorpio, which symbolizes secret or occult knowledge. Kambalia comes from the Coptic word meaning crooked claw, and it's located on the small foot of the maiden Virgo constellation. This causes swift, sudden change, violence, and arguments. Scorpio answers to planetary rulers Mars and Pluto, both key players in this full moon, with Pluto Cazimi and changing signs, and Mars exalted in Capricorn as the planetary ruler for the North Node of Fate and Destiny in Aries, aligned with Chiron, which is all about overcoming rejection and abandonment wounding on the path to self-fulfillment, autonomy, and independence. An exalted Mars aligned 14 to 15 degrees in the heart of Capricorn with Mercury indicates a rewiring of our minds as we shed patterns of criticism, perfectionism, negative self-talk, along with our fears and insecurities. Where we were previously rejected for showing our true, authentic selves, we are no longer afraid. Mars delivers karma via injury, illness, and separation, which is in alignment with Mercury, the planet of our conscious, our lower minds, our conscious thought and awareness, and communication, which indicates that we are coming into awareness of our karmic lessons under this full moon. Mars's second ruling sign is Scorpio, the penetration of secrets, representing skill in applying our intellect to deep research, espionage, detective or police work, alchemy, and esotericism. Now I'd like to explore specifically the planetary rulers of Aquarius energy. Aquarius is co-ruled, like we said, by both Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is at 5 degrees, bringing more Leo energy, and Pisces. We'll come back to that one later. Uranus, which stations direct 19 degrees Taurus just hours after this full moon on January 27th, cue the sudden change. Uranus direct is all about enacting change from an empowered perspective after a period of deep reflection while the planets were in retrograde. Uranus wants us to collectively awaken into higher consciousness, living with integrity and in alignment with our highest selves. For those of you watching who are religious, this concept of being created in the image of God and living according to that image is present in nearly every world religion across time. The moral of the story is simple. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated, because what comes around goes around. Right relationship with self extends into right relationship with others. In Christianity, this is called Christ consciousness. In Buddhism, this is known as the Buddha nature, which forms the foundation for one's life. This is known as Amla consciousness, the ninth and final stage of consciousness and the level at which karma from previous 8 levels can no longer make an impact. In Hinduism, this is the Atman. In Judaism, this is Nefesh Haloket. The common denominator in each of these very different religions is that each believes that within us is a spiritual guide calling us to think and behave with a moral compass. More compassion and less egoicism, self-centeredness. The higher self is the divine, God consciousness, or unifying spirit that lies within each and every one of us, that brings us into oneness, connection, and unconditional love. The bucket shape of this full moon chart, as you can see here, which is characterized by the majority of planets situated within one half of the chart, with one planet standing alone in opposition to this cluster of planets, indicating a single-minded focus focus toward a goal amid conflict and crisis. The cluster of planets together for the chart of the United States of America, and remember I'm based in Philadelphia, the first capital of the United States of America, puts most of these planets in the top right quadrant, or quadrant 3, covering houses 7, 8, and 9, which in astrology, this is symbolic of adulthood, expansion, and cooperation, covering life areas including our one-to-one relationships and business partnerships, such as in the 7th house, intimacy and long-term commitments, the merging of money, inheritances, debts, taxes, etc., such as in the 8th house, and higher learning and spirituality, the 9th house. We're experiencing a great collective awakening, especially here in the United States of America, exploring new ventures and opportunities, and seeing things from a new perspective after a period of reflection on our long-term commitments, relationships, and business partnerships. We're more drawn to faith and spirituality as we experience this test to self-mastery and are challenged to live and let God and trust in divine timing, relinquishing control. Now we'll talk about Neptune in Pisces as the sole depositor, with Saturn in Pisces answering to Neptune in Pisces 2023 to 2026. Saturn and Neptune's co-presence in Pisces from March 2023 to February 2026 is a historic and game-changing period of time that's all about aligning with, you guessed it, higher consciousness. As above, so below. Such as in the tree of life I'm wearing around my neck, encapsulating a moonstone, a stone associated with Aquarian energy. The tree of life, if looked at from above, looks just like the placenta, as above, so below. Pisces energy is symbolized by two fish swimming in opposite directions, representing the contrast between 3D reality and 5D higher consciousness, spirituality. The last time Saturn and Neptune were co-present in Pisces was from 1847 to 1849, and it brought the following: a questioning of God's will, a time for cultivating greater spiritual curiosity, focus on the essence of the soul of a person. In 1947, Sir James Young Simpson used chloroform for the first time for a comfortably numb childbirth, and in 1849 it brought the birth of pharmaceutical giant Pfizer, who are coming into their dual Saturn and Neptune return between 2023 and 2026, bringing restrictions and boundaries to their formerly limitless power, which peaked in 2020 and 2021. Let's explore some of the additional aspects. 3 placements in the sign of Capricorn indicates there's still a strong emphasis in the sign of Capricorn and on Capricorn energy, especially with Mars in its sign of exaltation in Capricorn. This is like a quadruple dose of Capricorn energy. We'll be learning to balance the Capricorn and Aquarius energies over the next 2 weeks en route to the Aquarius new moon on February 9th, 2024, just hours before the lunar new year ushers us into the year of the wood dragon. Watch out, Earth signs, it's coming for you. Let's cover those Capricorn placements. Venus, 2 degrees Capricorn, building lasting relationships and legacies as we overcome a lack mentality. Mercury, 14 degrees Capricorn, Mars, 15 degrees Capricorn. Mercury and Mars co-present with Venus in Capricorn is very beneficial for the North Node and Chiron in Aries, answering to that exalted Mars. Mercury and Mars align just hours after this full moon, indicating, like we mentioned previously, that we're reprogramming and rewiring our minds, ditching things like negative self-talk and overcoming that lack mentality. Mercury and Mars in conjunction exacting just after the full moon can indicate layoffs and job cuts in response to some sort of financial crisis. Mars exalted in Capricorn is dominant to Mercury, bringing an organized, assertive, focused, and determined energy. Whenever we have Mars in conjunction, it brings a strong, assertive Aries, Scorpio flavor to the mix of energies, because Mars is the planetary ruler for both Aries and Scorpio. We're speaking up and we're speaking out about what's fair, right, just, and equitable. This is where my Aries energy hides, for those of you who are curious. Yes, that sun in the first house has strong Aries flavors, but that conjunction between my moon and Mars gives me the traits of an Aries moon. Is it any wonder why all my female best friends, not all of them, most of them, are Aries moons, followed by Aquarius moons? This is all about employing our initiative, drive, and strong assertive communication to make things happen. 2023, we saw an increase in part-time, seasonal, and temporary hiring, people returning to work post various multi-industry strikes, beginning with the actors, actresses, and writers in Hollywood strike during the Venus retrograde through Leo summer of 2023, followed by strikes in the automotive and construction industries. The current powers that be in my country coded this as new jobs to help inflate numbers and therefore mask the reality of the economic situation. This isn't sustainable. I'm going to read from The Wild Unknown Pocket Animal Spirit Guidebook by Kim Kranz for the Dragon, because I think it's really relevant for 2024, the year of the wood dragon. Seeing one's most true self, balancing the ego. The dragon sees everything. Its essence has been with us since before our first breath, and it will be there at our last. It watches us navigate the external world as well as our inner world. When dragon energy is awakened, we are courageous, visionary, and can easily drop into witness consciousness. It is almost as if we are traveling with a great friend inside of ourselves. When we look in the mirror, deep in our eyes, we may even glimpse the self behind the self, the one who is watching us. This is the power of the dragon, breathing transformative fire into every cell of our bodies. Witnessing this omnipotent energy, even for a brief moment, helps us surrender and let go. We let the dragon guide us. We hop on its back for a ride, and as we traverse even the most difficult terrain, the dragon's eyes see beauty everywhere. It is said that if a yogi does not see beauty in the world, their Agni is dim. Agni is described as inner fire or sacred intelligence. May even just the mention of the dragon stir the embers of intelligence within you. The dragon and the third eye chakra. The subtle energy of the dragon lives at the navel center, at the Manipuri chakra. Manipuri translates to the city of hidden gems, and behind its gates burns the fire of our transformation and digestion. The sages believe health of the fire at the navel center is what governs our ability to clearly see both the inner and outer dimensions. This is known as the Dantian. We have a grand Earth Trine involving the conjunction between Mercury and Mars, aligned in the middle degrees heart of Capricorn. Trine Uranus, retrograde, but not for long, 19 degrees Taurus. Trine Juno, who recently went retrograde, 21 degrees Virgo. Uranus, about to station direct days after this full moon, is all about inspired action. Uranus, as the traditional ruler of Aquarius, influences both the Sun and Pluto while they're in Aquarius, and therefore acts as the dominant planet, and it is the final planet to station direct. This means that all planets will be direct, indicating forward progress until the next planet stations retrograde, which will be the first Mercury retrograde, which will be the next Mercury retrograde beginning through the cardinal fire sign Aries on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2024, which will be sure to be a doozy. Stay tuned. This speaks to dynamic, inspired act and climate volatility. Uranus in Taurus brings wild weather, as we've seen past 2 years especially. Sun and Pluto in Aquarius indicates a cold, frozen world, and the timing corresponded with the polar vortex affecting nearly every corner of the USA except for Hawaii and parts of the southern tip of Florida. There were 72 people to die due to extreme weather events the week leading up to the Pluto Cazimi. Aspects involving Saturn in Pisces answering to Neptune in Pisces, with Saturn influencing everything in Capricorn and Aquarius, and Uranus in Taurus influencing everything in Aquarius, including Pluto, which intensifies, and involving the aspects between Jupiter in Taurus and Saturn, indicates that we'll continue to see flooding through the duration of 2024. This is symbolic of a need to return to our creative or solar power and force, coinciding with, like we said, solar maximum. Mercury and Mars aligned in Capricorn as the focal point of a cardinal T-square, with the South Node of karmic fate and destiny in Libra, opposite Chiron, asteroid of deep soul wounding, and North Node of fate and destiny in Aries, forming the opposition. This means that Chiron and the North Node of fate and destiny are squaring their depositor, an exalted and incredibly powerful Mars in Capricorn. Go slow and practice restraint to avoid re-triggering past trauma, especially as it relates to overcoming rejection and abandonment wounding. Mercury and Mars can bring fighting words and urges to speak before thinking, which can get us into heaps of trouble. Watch for forcing and chasing when Jupiter in Taurus wants us to attract, not chase, and simply live and let be. We've got karma coming in for toxic shadow Capricorn, which looks like using others for selfish gain, control and trust issues, causing it to attempt to control others by manipulating them, using the word for evil to create judgment and separation, and toxic shadow Libra, which looks like conflict avoidance, people-pleasing, codependency, sacrificing integrity for groupthink and popularity, and using others for selfish gain, especially their one-to-one relationships. Toxic Aries as well, which can look like impatience, impulsivity, and aggressiveness. We have a Yod, aka the finger of God in astrology, pointing to the lonely moon 5 degrees Leo. A Yod is a triangle formed with 2 planets in a supportive sextile forming the base, with each base of the triangle forming a challenging quincunx or in conjunct to the apex of the triangle. At the base of the triangle, we have the supportive sextile between Venus in Capricorn and Saturn in Pisces, working together. And then the 2 in conjuncts quincunxes, Leo Moon, quincunx Saturn in Pisces, Leo Moon, quincunx Venus in Capricorn. This creates tension that makes attaining balance between the emotional needs of the moon and our responsibilities and duties, Saturn, and creates relationship tension within our one-to-one relationships, contracts, work, and commitments, Venus in Capricorn. We're battling that lack mentality and overcoming low self-esteem and negative self-talk as we consciously work through subconscious triggers and limiting beliefs. I'd like to dive into the Sabian symbols. The Sabian symbol for the moon, 5 degrees Leo, rounds to 6 degrees Leo. An old-fashioned woman and a modern girl. The theme, something old, something new, something shared or borrowed. Reminds me of that wedding adage, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. The image of an old-fashioned woman and an up-to-date girl dramatizes opposites, and it emphasizes the importance of learning to cooperate and look at life from the reverse or flip side of things. Here, conservatism, maturity, tradition, and established values of the past are contrasted with liberalism, youth, innovation, and formative values. I don't pay much attention to politics, but on both sides, I'm hearing a call for someone younger. We'll see what this powerful election year has in store. Watch for fear of change and conflict or confrontation leading to a failure to act. By not taking a stance and staying silent, you are taking a stance. We're in the final days of the year of the rabbit, which in Chinese astrology is an energetic pattern that reminds me of Virgo Libra energy in Western astrology. Calm, peaceful, artistic, and conflict avoidant. There's the Libra. It seeks solace in perfecting the small details, there's the Virgo and the Libra, to ensure that everything is done both correctly and efficiently. There's an emphasis on cooperation and seeing things from the perspective of others in relation to you, walking a mile in their moccasins. And here's the proverb: never criticize a man until you've walked a mile in his moccasins. He who is present at a wrongdoing and does not lift a hand to prevent it is as guilty as the wrongdoers. Sun at 5 degrees Aquarius rounds to 6 degrees Aquarius, a performer of a mystery play. The theme is the drama of life. Be subtle, less is more. This symbol speaks to revelation, which is what full moons are all about. Drama and the unveiling of secrets. The image of a performer of a mystery play highlights allegory and drama as a universally understood medium of expression. The emphasis here is on man's desire for spiritual truth and his attempts to comprehend the secrets, meaning, and purpose of life. This degree can indicate a baffling or perplexing message, situation, or circumstance that's difficult to make sense of. We may see or hear something under this full moon that will not be fully understood until later on. Pay attention to what's unusual or out of the norm. With Pluto co-present 0 degrees Aquarius, we would round that up to 1 degree Aquarius for the Sabian symbol. An old Adobe mission. More Native American themes. Theme, spiritual foundations. This symbol speaks to durability and establishing societal foundations that last. The emphasis in this symbol is on psychological as well as physical survival and on the need for maintaining personal values that sustain all of mankind. All of mankind, not just the top 2%. You may receive a message or letter from someone you haven't heard from in a long time. Reprioritize your time and energy by focusing on what really matters and what can realistically change, except what we cannot change. Jupiter 6 degrees Taurus rounds to 7 degrees Taurus in the Sabian symbols, which is a woman of Samaria. Theme, collective awakening. The symbol of a woman of Samaria alludes to the biblical story of Jesus revealing his true identity and sole purpose, his messiahship, to a strange woman at a well who has been outcast by society. There's that Aquarius theme again, the outsider looking in. This illustrates the concept of upreach and the principle that the individual who seeks fulfillment of a higher way of life cannot permit themselves to be pulled down and conditioned by the opinions of others or succumb to social pressures to conform to the lowest common denominator of their fellows, sentient beings, non-character players in this simulation we call life. If you believe in simulation theory, otherwise known as people who do not have a soul path. There are those that have a soul path, and there are those, mostly earth-dominant energies, who are more shadow entities there to serve as a contrast for us on our soul's evolution and path. This symbol indicates that help is on the way from an unexpected source or teacher, so keep both your heart and minds open. Service coupled with warm, generous, altruistic nature that must guard against allowing itself to be used rather than being useful. There's a fine line there. Avoid overextending yourself by agreeing to take on more responsibility than you can realistically accomplish by employing healthy, balanced boundaries. Set aside any underlying personal prejudices or beliefs, as there are rewards coming in for genuinely offering your assistance and being willing to listen to someone during their time of need. What's missing creating that grand fixed cross, 5 to 6 degrees Scorpio, rounds to 6-7 degrees Scorpio. I want to read both because I think they're both relevant. 6 degrees Scorpio is a gold rush. The theme is ambition. Individuals focus with gratitude on what they already have and on their skills rather than their shortcomings or problems. Their 3D reality improves. This symbol represents optimism and a natural gift for seizing opportunity and elevating every situation to its highest and full potential. Prepare yourself adequately before diving headfirst into a new venture. Be wary of seemingly too good to be true or easy money schemes. If it seems too good to be true, it likely is. Watch out for scams and watch out for hacking. 7 degrees Scorpio, deep sea divers. There's the sea again. Theme, spiritual foundations. This symbol speaks to the rejection of shallow, superficial, or materialistic experiences due to a desire for deep, lasting interpersonal relationships with like-minded others. Unshakable determination to explore every opportunity and unsolved mystery to get to the root of the matter or situation. Let's review the Leo full moon themes. Authentic self-expression and creativity, fearlessly expressing what's on your mind, growing in self-confidence, courage, and self-assertion, daring to be different. Gone are the days of giving our power away by giving too much stock to the opinions of others. Just as royalty does not step down from the throne to address its subjects, don't alter your core energy frequency for anyone or anything. Leo does not dim its light to make anyone more comfortable in their shadow. It's their shadow, don't absorb it. They're merely projections. What is triggering them in you is something within themselves that they need to heal. You will not be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm hearing Rihanna shine bright like a diamond. You might have also noticed Coach's Shine campaign. It's an ode to authentic self-expression and embodying the courage and confidence of a Leo, which perfectly aligns with this Venus retrograde through Leo summer of 2023 and this Leo full moon energy we have January 2024. Don't hold yourself back. Sometimes it's you against your inner critic. This is all about silencing that inner critic. Whether it's a tough inner critic you're battling or others trying to dampen your fire, stand firm in who you are. Leo energy and the 5th house that Leo rules is all about gambling, so don't be afraid to take a risk if necessary. Emotions can run high, especially with the Pluto opposition to the moon and the moon in Leo, which is intense, dramatic emotions running high. Remember to celebrate others with warmth, generosity, and altruism. You can be altruistic and generous materially, or you can do so with your energy or your time. One of the full moon and Leo themes is sharing our positive energy and warmth like it's our duty. And if you have strong Leo or Libra energy, it is your duty. Watch for tooting your own horn, arrogance, self-centeredness, any attention-seeking behavior and taking things too personally, diving into the realm of narcissistic self-pity. Fame is coming to those who do not seek it, while people who are currently in power, or in the spotlight, who are misusing their positions of power, are about to have a huge downfall. We're hearing more about solar power, renewable energy, and solar energy all coinciding with solar maximum. We're contributing to the collective by shining our light and inspiring others to do the same. There's an emphasis on authentic self-expression and individuality without fear of judgment, criticism, rejection, or abandonment. Instead, confidently step into the limelight and assert yourself without fear of rejection. Be mindful of manifesting from a place of insecurity, lack, or fear, which can create negative, self-fulfilling prophecies. I see myself as a conduit and messenger sent to translate the astrology through the creative outlet that we see here on YouTube. North Node in Aquarius, opposite South Node, Jupiter and Pallas Athena, all in Leo, with my sun rising on the ascendant. Let's take a glimpse into the future. We have a Mars retrograde coming up in 2024, which you know will be a doozy. The last one was through the sign of Gemini, which is where my Mars is, and it was really challenging. This will be December 2024 to the beginning of 2025. This Leo full moon occurs at the exact same degree point as the Mars retrograde will begin, between 5 and 6 degrees Leo. Mars retrograde only happens but once every 2 years, so similar to a Venus retrograde, when it happens, it affects all of us. In this case, specifically as it relates to our ambitions, our motivation, our drive, and our outward expression of energy, the energy we employ when we go after something when we want it. With Mars as the ruler of everything in Aries and Scorpio, it's influencing the North Node of fate and destiny during its sojourn through Aries from July 2023 until January 2025. And this Mars retrograde will be the final days before the North Node enters Pisces in January 2025. Mars in the early degrees of Leo and late degrees of Cancer will oppose Pluto in the early degrees of Aquarius and the late degrees of Capricorn. Mars retrograde ending in Cancer being all about national security. Dangerous and severe polarities that we see throughout 2024 will come to a head, and we will see conflicts and self-assertion along the way.